Welcome to our next episode. This episode is highlighting one of our advertisers. He spoke at our last summit. DecentMed presents the Institute for Inner Peace. Nathan, you have the floor.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Are you going to be asking questions, or what are we doing? I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
you
I didn't
just
get
start
that
by
part.
introducing yourself.
Oh, okay, yeah. Um, Hi, my name is Nathan Wilds. I am the owner and founder of the Institute for Inner Peace. I myself am a massage therapist, Reiki healer, life coach, lymphatic specialist, and now I'm doing more than just doing one-on-one work, which I still love. And I am determined to build communities where holistic wellness and spiritual healing and any other form of self-development, self-improvement comes together in such a way to impact more lives than any one of us can do by ourselves. And that's why I'm creating and hosting the Inner Peace Mastery Healers Retreat this December in San Diego. It is a specialized event for professional healers in the business, um, who wish to invest in themselves and their work to empower their business up to the next level and the care that they give to their clients.
Thank you so much, Nathan. And when we add advertisers to the platform, we choose people that align with our mission. And that's why I was so proud to have you speak at our last summit, which was centered around PTSD. And your retreat.institute for inner peace, which is at the bottom of the screen. How do your healers and how do you believe that you can do a greater job in healing with PTSD or addressing it, I should say?
Well, there's a wide variety of treatments available.
Mhm.
And certainly, of course, people are familiar with some of the strongest ones, like EMDR. Um, the way my company works is we are founded on a philosophy that I've developed called the five spheres of holistic wellness.
Mm.
The five spheres, each of the five are your body sphere, your mind sphere, your heart sphere, your energy sphere, and your environment sphere. Each of these make up part of the full story of where you are and who you are and how to characterize your well-being at any given time. And when you begin to understand that and begin to understand how each one of these spheres influences your life in their own way, but also interact with the other four, you can begin to find solutions to problems, um, that address multiple sides of the issue. So, for someone like in PTSD, trauma is trauma, you know, and I'm never going to speak against, some of the proven treatments like cognitive behavioral therapy or EMDR. Um, Let me get back to your original question. Are you asking about the retreat will
Yes,
help
sir. So
people,
I'll
or?
ask you a better question about the retreat. So, and tell us a little bit more about the retreat because I really liked what you said, by the way, about how energy healing can help with trauma. And we take PTSD, it is trauma. And I think trauma goes so much further than just PTSD. And our speaker actually, after you spoke, was a shamanic Reiki master. And she spoke about trauma. But I think you're right. We want this interview today to center all around the retreat because I think that having this retreat really expand and having more people a part of it, more people signing up, I think it does wonder for the holistic medicine community as a whole. So let's talk a little bit more about the retreat and break down what does a provider get for joining.
Sure, absolutely. What you're getting when you come to this retreat is not only the opportunity to learn what other practitioners do and where their wisdom lies and where their expertise lies,
Mhm.
but you get to see how what you do and what they do each fall into its own version of the five spheres model. See, the beauty of the five spheres model is you don't have to quote unquote sign up for it or align with it conscientiously or start by saying I'm going to follow this model before I start doing my work. If you're doing healing work, holistic work, almost by its very nature, holistic practices complement one another. That's one of the
Yeah.
more powerful things about holistic medicine. It is not like you're taking two different medications for two different symptoms or two different problems, which may counteract one another or have significantly dangerous effects when they're in your body at the same time. Holistic medicine is tapping into your body's needs, is tapping into your mind's needs, is tapping into your subconscious mind's needs. That's mostly your belief, significantly what the heart energy sphere is about. And so when you come to this event, the first thing you're going to get to do is put yourself back in the receiving chair just for a bit. A lot of times we spend a great deal of time once we know how to heal others doing that quite a lot. And indeed, I can tell you from experience, healing others is actually healing for yourself.
Mm.
Nevertheless, there does come a point where the well runs dry in terms of how much energy you have and how much capacity you have to continually delivering healing to others and taking on what they have, taking on what they're dealing with, holding space for that, holding strength for that, and then letting it dissipate out, once the session is over or whatever you're doing. So it's always good to remind ourselves, most of us got into healing work because we know what this stuff is like. We know the experiences. Most of it, it's kind of the nature of the practice and the field. It's beautiful, but also disturbing. In order to be drawn to this work, you tend to have to experience the kind of suffering your clients are or have experienced before. And so I can stop there and we can go back to another question, or I can just keep going because there's a wide variety of stuff about this retreat.
Yeah. So I just want to break down one thing you said. You said holistic modalities complement one another. And my question for you, and this goes back to the retreat, why do you think, given that quote, holistic providers do not collaborate with one another as much as traditional providers? And how do you think this retreat can help grow the collaborative effect that we want, where holistic providers work with one another?
Well, for one thing, holistic practitioners in general, unless they're working for a large corporation, like massage, of course, has large companies, Massage Envy and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But most holistic practitioners are essentially entrepreneurs. They work for themselves or they work for a few other people. They might have a partnership here and there. And, eventually they find ways to align their work at times. But when you're in that space where you're working for yourself, collaborations are useful so long as you feel like you're in control of the matter, I suppose, or you're not losing in order to gain something, or you're not, some people get uncomfortable with the idea of sharing clients. I worked this hard to get these clients. They're my clients. There's no reason to share them with you. So I think it probably starts from that mentality that we are entrepreneurs and we're out on our own. We do collaborate. We do learn from one another. We do appreciate one another. But it's a little harder when it's one person running their own ship, kind of a typical operation. Let me redress the second part of your question so I can give it the perfect answer, or not the perfect answer, but the better answer. I think you
Yes.
had a secondary part of you want to know why they don't or why they should.
Well, no, you
Or,
answered why they don't, which
yeah.
is because, like you said, they're entrepreneurs. And as entrepreneurs, when you see someone that's in your similar field, you think, well, this person's going to take money off of my plate. Versus when you think about traditional medicine, the money's already coming in for everyone because of the pharmaceutical, element of it, where holistic providers, they don't get that steady income immediate. So my next question to that is, how will this how will this retreat foster that collaboration that holistic providers need to really grow?
So what I want people to understand and appreciate and love about this business is, first of all, money is money, and we understand making money, and that a business is a business. Having said that, holistic wellness practitioners are consistently among the most powerfully giving people on the planet. The very nature of the work that they do and the work that they're drawn to do brings in the kind of people who are not interested, would not be interested in taking over something,
Mm.
and would not be interested. And to that effect, they may be a little bit fearful that somebody else is taking over. But because that's going back into their own histories of trauma or whatever else drew them to this work. But when you if you're a massage therapist,
Mhm.
for example, if you were able to set yourself up and partner up properly with a yoga studio, I can tell you just from witnessing it happen that for a person who just did yoga, if you give them about 20 minutes to rest some of their energy, a massage is like the perfect form of recovery for them.
Mhm.
You're putting the body back together. The body is already, loosened up. A lot of tension has been released, and you're following that up with a massage, which kind of eases the body back into pure relaxation, and at the same time reinforces the same relaxing effects that the yoga session had. That's why it's complementary. That's why it's that much more powerful than just doing one or the other. And there's an adage out there that 2 + 2 = 5. And the reason people say that is aligned groups of people drawn to the same mission, drawn to the same core outcome, vision, mission for the work that they're doing and who they're serving with it, are not just parts added up together. The collaborative effort, the collaborative space, the healing that's done in that space, makes the entire whole much greater than the sum of the parts. And so, partnerships can take all kinds of forms. We don't necessarily mean you're going to work out of the same office or have the same phone number or have a similar or the same web address. You can, and I would encourage you to try it and see how the business grows when you're working together. But even if it were just cross referrals, or you both consistently put together workshops, you consistently put together group events, or classes or what have you, such that you're seen together, aligning what you do,
Mhm.
The those client bases that each of you have formed and have created and have developed are now doubled in each case. Yes, you're quote sharing your client base, but they're sharing theirs. And again, this isn't about you taking away work from somebody else or them taking work away from you. You do what you do, they do what they do, they complement each other, and the client is now in the space more often, more and longer because the treatments they're getting and reinforce one another and can either happen the same day or the next day. So that's just one form of way that this kind of collaboration can work. Again, it depends a little bit more on the types of companies that are coming together. And then beyond that, when you take it up to the retreat level, we're bringing in 50 practitioners for this.
Mm.
It's not even just, again, working to get, creating a collaboration that works every day, although that's awesome if you do that. It's also about having a network of other facilitators that do their own specialty or have their own special wrinkle, or perhaps you're even located somewhere else. That you can share knowledge with, pick up tools from, and empower yourself. If you don't want to collaborate with someone, if you don't want to work with somebody, why don't you just learn what they do and they can learn what you do? And
Mm.
now each of you is stronger because you're offering more to your clients than you were before because you have another modality in your toolkit. These are various ways that this kind of collaboration can work for you.
That's very insightful because, like you said, it's not a certain type of collaboration where I have to work in the same office as you, but it's coming together for a specific mission. And that's why I like
Mm-hmm.
what you have with these five spheres. And I'd love for you to talk more about it: the physical, emotional, mental, environment, and energy. And when I think about holistic medicine, I think of it like a three legged stool: the physical health, the mental health, and the spiritual health. When people think spiritual, it doesn't have to be religious. It can be just like what these five spheres are: the emotional, the environment that you have, and the energy that you have. So, talk more about the five spheres.
Yes, absolutely. Like you said, it's not uncommon to hear people have begun to grasp, whether they're in the field or not, the idea of the interconnections between the mind and the body, and the subconscious mind, and which is what the heart is. Although the heart has energy in itself. There's more to it than just pure what's going on down in here. The heart itself has its own intelligence that's been proven scientifically, and its own energetic outreach. The key that I found with the five spheres is that I wanted to move it past just those three: mind, body, spirit. And to your point, because you talked about using the word spirit, the reason I use the word energy is, one, it's more all encompassing of a term about what we're talking about. Spirit is actually just another form of energy, spiritual energy. But moreover, for those who find the word spirit uncomfortable because for whatever reason you're too quickly or easily or just it's programmed into you that when you hear the word spirit, you think somebody is imposing religion on you or talking in woo-woo terms or these kinds of things. And while energy work is an extraordinary, and for those who know how to do it, nearly a magical thing to witness. I use that term because it's kind of the base line understanding you need to have that there are forces within you and around you that determine how much energy you have at any given moment, and how much energy you have at any given moment will almost supersede everything else going on with you. As it, your energy level will determine how much your body is willing to react or willing to engage in what you're doing. Your ability to focus is energy. Your ability, I'll talk about how the other spheres work with it. Your ability to discern emotions calmly and work with them productively for yourself, rather than having it be a reactionary activity. The less energy you have, the more reactive you're going to be. Your fight or flight instincts will actually increase in significance if you have less energy within you, and an imbalance of energy within you to approach that emotional situation or that reactive situation that's causing it. Um, and then the environment sphere was a big one that I've added that I don't know if I've heard people talk about before. And it's one I think we forget. And when people first hear me say environment, the natural response is the trees and the grass and the air and all of that stuff. And that is exceedingly important. But environment goes a great deal beyond that. Environment is any form of physical environment around you, whether you live in a city or a town or forest, or your immediate surroundings in that particular moment are a hotel ballroom, or the environment inside your home, the physical environment inside your home. People don't realize that indoor air quality is actually much more of a significant issue than outdoor air quality. But then beyond that, you see the true genius of this environment sphere is it's not just your physical environment; it's your social environment. And a social environment is by far the most, in my opinion, the least and most under. Yeah, let me rephrase. The social environment to me is the most underestimated influence on your health. It is actually a part of your specific well-being. Is characterized through the social environment you have around you. That goes everywhere from who lives in the home with you, all the way to who you work with, all the way up to the types of media you bring into your life, or are brought into your life, whether you want them or not. Oh, I'm not hearing you if you're talking.
That was a very insightful point you made. The social environment is the most underestimated element of your health. Well, when you look at the blue zones, if you're not familiar with the blue zones, they are areas around the world where people live to be centennials or live to be 100 years old or more. And the funny thing, to your point, it's not that they all had a central diet. It wasn't that they all had a central health plan or they had more technology regarding their health than the other. The commonality among all of those blue zones was what you just stated. They all had a social environment. When you look at in Sardinia, in Greece, in Quito, in Ecuador, in Loma Linda, California, when you look at those three areas, for example, that are all blue zones, it's that they foster a social environment. So you're completely right. That is a extremely underestimated element of one's health. So with the retreat, how are you fostering the social environment?
So the social environment comes together. Um, very much by putting you all, everyone who's coming, is being put into a highly intentionally designed and curated space where you are among your peers, you are among people that you can learn from and who can learn from you. There will be people there with very high credentials. That's actually one of the things I'm wanting you to have a chance to do, is meet and work with and spend time around people who have achieved quite a lot in their holistic wellness career. But beyond that, to be reminded that that person got there, one, because of knowledge and skills and qualities that they had, but also because they had partnerships too, and they had things that worked for them. And when you're in collaborative space, especially when among healers who are, by definition, giving, passionate, caring people, driven by a mission to make people's lives better than they were before, being among people like that will inspire your creativity, your opportunistic nature, your the way you view the potential of your impact. And so as far as the nuts and bolts of the event, we will have 6 core presentations with everyone in attendance. You'll have time to meet the speakers thereafter. There will be times where people will be able to visit the vendor area where each of our speakers and a few other people will be presenting offers or, work that they're doing. There will be, we're all going to be eating lunch together each and every day. It's there's plenty of time for both formal and informal interactions. And it's been said multiple times, and people who have been in these kinds of settings understand this. The random conversation is where the magic really happens. A person can speak from a stage, and each one of the people who are speaking on our stage will be in a position to make a major return on their investment or gain quite a lot, both financially and otherwise, from that post and from that stage by being on there. But at the same time, the real conversations don't happen there. The real sales don't happen there. It's you talking with somebody who's doing something that aligns with what you do in a way that complements you, and you complement them. It's those kinds of environments, those kinds of people that I want you to be around. And it's also about doing this in person.
Yes.
There is something to be said about this. And I know we're online right now, and that technology should never be underestimated as far as what it has done for us. Having said that, no matter how much you try, unless you're exceedingly gifted energetically, and even if you are, there's just an unnecessary element of physical presence with each other that will inspire you in ways that a Zoom call just cannot do. And that's something that this retreat is meant to bring you back to. Yes, you can sell and talk and pitch and heal and market yourself on these kinds of stages all the time. You can do motivational speaking from a studio where 10,000 view screens are looking at you from wherever they're living. And I'm happy that you're reaching 10,000 people to whatever degree that you're able to from just what your words are saying and some of the body language you're expressing, I suppose. But there's just nothing quite the same as physical, direct interaction. You're talking to people face to face. You're looking them in your eye. You're feeling their energy. They're feeling your energy. They're feeling your spirit. You're expressing yours. your mind starts to clear, your focus comes into place. All of these things happen much, much more when you're in person.
You know, and just to your point, is something that is very much underestimated that you stated is the idea of going to a venue in person. And even though right now our summits are online, we are working towards doing in-person summits because I think in-person summits are better. And I want to speak about the venue because, like you said, it's not only that you will get a great place to meet, but the venue is very nice. So I just want to read this description and get your thoughts. So the venue is called the ARC, Abundance Retreat Club, which is a high frequency ecosystem designed for visionary founders, coaches, and community leaders who aim to integrate wealth, health, and consciousness in their professional legacies. And it's a sphere. So speak a little bit more about the venue.
So I met the owners. Their names are John and Monsi, John Block and Monsi Shah. And I met them 2 or 3 years ago at their home. This is their private residence that they've turned into kind of a mixture of a private residence and the host location for the retreats and the kind of in-person business they want to get done. And yes, primarily they have what's called the geodome. A geodome is a specifically designed structure that is very minimal in terms of the way it's constructed, but it's designed to kind of create a very healing or comfortable environment for people to meet in. It tends to have a certain degree of acoustic qualities as well. So it's a very, very beautiful place to meet. We also may be meeting in their home depending on the logistics of this particular retreat. Their property is on about 4 acres of pristine land in the mountains to the east of the San Diego metro area. Around you is dozens of wineries, dozens of horse farms. The mountains are there, the vistas are there, the nature, within walking distance is pure nature. The air quality is second to none. It's just a very, very, very intentionally designed, curated, and chosen space where the beauty of nature comes together with the beauty of the nature of everyone who's going to be there.
Thank you for sharing. And any thoughts on why? Why should people decide to do this?
It's a great question because I think it'll kind of bring us back, kind of put a bow on everything. Why do I believe you should do this? I think it goes back to the core premise that basically everyone who gets into holistic work is there for, to impact lives, positively impact lives, often in most cases, lives that were turned upside down for one reason or another in ways that should never happen. Happens a lot, but that shouldn't happen. Mm-hmm. And so putting yourself here, bringing yourself to a space where we can learn from one another, be inspired by one another, work together, align what we do, collaborate with what we do, to not just impact the lives that we can reach individually, but imagine how many lives we can reach collectively. And the more we get there, the more minds that are opened up, the more the hearts that are put in a restful state, the more people whose bodies don't carry pain that so often distracts them from everything else they do. The more often we're able to put ourselves in healthy, powerful, meaningful social positions and environments with each other, and grow those environments with everyone we're going to reach, everyone we're going to help. This is how we take holistic work and make it so common, so normal, so basic. One of the true core philosophies that holistic medicine is meant to teach you is that ultimately you heal yourself. That's the reason my company is called Institute for Inner Peace. Inner peace is where it starts. This is the basis for our peace, and it's how we bring peace to others. It starts from within, radiates out. This is why I include the environment sphere. This is not just about healing you. That's where it starts, and it's the best thing you could possibly do for your life. And every one of us who is going to be there, including you, is part of that world and devoted to that practice. But when we start to shift this to where so many more people are stepping into these practices again and again and again, and the masses grow and the consciousness grows, the peace will rise with it. I won't talk too much longer because I only have a couple minutes. But I want to leave you with this. Many of us who see this, because we see the energy and understand it, know that the stress and the violence and the tension we're seeing are really the last remnants of the old power framework falling, because the regular people are understanding that power comes from group, collective understanding and peace, not force. Force is necessary when it has to be done, but we are slowly stepping out of minority, becoming majority. We are becoming a louder voice. Everyone can hear it. Mm-hmm. Be part of what makes that voice that much stronger by working together with us, being part of the community we're building with this retreat. And it starts with this one.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Nathan. You can check out his retreat and sign up at retreat.instituteforpeace.com and visit
the website. It's in the thing. It's in the chat, right? Or they all see it? Do they have it there?
They see it.
Okay, very, very good. I look forward to meeting you all.
And you can also sign up or access his services at www.instituteforpeace.com. Thank you for the latest DecentMed Showcase, the Institute for Inner Peace, and everyone have a great rest of their day.
Take care. Thank you.